Hello everyone, I'm starting a new channel where essentially I read Reddit stories, whether it be confessions, am I the asshole, or advice, or anything that I see that's intriguing or that would catch my eye at least. And I'll be playing games in the background from Minecraft, Fortnite, or anything. I'm not the best at games, so please don't fill the comments up with all your trash or something like that. But yeah, I just want to build a community where I could read a Reddit story or read something in general, and anybody who's either watching or listening, whether it be them driving or doing chores or homework or something like that, can just listen and sit back and have something to listen to. And yeah, I just want to build a community where there's no racism, homophobia, or anything disgusting like that. And yeah, so thank you so much. I'll have an email set up so you guys can send in some things too, so I can read it. And yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so this one's pretty funny. Am I the asshole for laughing when my son came home from meeting his girlfriend's parents because he chose to behave like he does at home? My son burps a lot while eating. I've tried telling him multiple times that it is rude. I've told him to slow down so he doesn't swallow air with his food. I've told him that it is disgusting. My wife will instantly jump in to defend him. She will say that that's just the way he is and that it's not his fault. The thing is, he can control himself. When I remind him, he just chooses not to. He went on a date with his girlfriend last night, and she tore him a new asshole. It was his first time meeting her parents since they live in another city. They went out to a fancy restaurant, and he burped all the way through supper. He came home almost in tears from her chewing him out for behaving like a jackass in front of her family. I heard him telling my wife about it, and I laughed. She asked what was so funny, and I reminded them both that I had tried dozens, if not hundreds of times to teach him table manners, and he rejected them, and she protected him. I said that now he's a grown man and he had to learn the hard way. They both think she's overreacting and that I'm the asshole for being amused by his experiences. So this poster is definitely not the asshole. I think the son is the asshole. And the wife slash mom is just being very overprotective of her son. I mean, it's simple etiquette to not burp out loud and eat like a pig at the table and things like that. I mean, sure, if you do it by yourself or with people that are okay and comfortable around it, and you're comfortable with them around it, sure, by all means. But if it's your first time meeting your significant other's family, let alone parents, first impressions matter. And after every sentence you're burping the ABCs, it's not a good look, especially since there's like a respect thing about it as well too. Because could you imagine they're sharing like a deep story and like a childhood story that's either nostalgic, sad, whatever it may be, and then the son's there just burping away? It makes no sense. The dad's definitely not the asshole. He's laughing because you get what you get. That's his fault. That's the son's fault. So yeah, dad's not the asshole. Son is, and the mom needs to probably back off a little bit and let the son fall so he can learn from his mistakes and move on to become a better person. Okay, so this next one's pretty funny. Am I the asshole for telling the girl who kissed my boyfriend for a play that she is desperate and pathetic? I, 19 female, study drama at university, and my boyfriend is on the same course. My boyfriend is a really good looking guy, but he doesn't seem to know it. He gets a lot of attention from girls and for the most part doesn't seem to get that they're flirting with him. I'm not generally annoyed by this and never really say anything. However, there's this one girl in our class, let's call her Samantha, who is obsessed with my boyfriend. She goes out of her way to be paired with him in group activities. For example, if the professor picks groups by numbering us 1, 2, 3, she'll move herself to be in the same number as him, and she recently stepped down from the main role in a play that we're doing so she could be in a more minor one, simply because this character has a romance with my boyfriend. I know that this is the case because I've heard her say to her friends that she thinks he's hot and whatnot. I've never said anything to her about it because she seems pretty insecure, always complaining about how she thinks she's ugly, and I don't see it as a big deal because my boyfriend doesn't care. However, we recently performed the play and I had a small after party where she got slightly drunk and was bragging about how she definitely felt something when they kissed in the play, and she's going to ask him if he felt the same. I rolled my eyes and again ignored it until she actually went up to my boyfriend. She was a little bit drunk and she went up to him and I was there too. Samantha started saying that she knows he must have felt a spark. He's a really good kisser, etc., etc. I snapped and sort of shouted at her that you sound incredibly desperate going after someone else's boyfriend. You're pathetic if you think a stage kiss means you should be together. She looked super embarrassed and walked away. And I later heard she'd gone home crying. I feel like a dick because she obviously is insecure and whatnot, and her friends haven't stopped calling me a bitch since. Am I the asshole? There's an edit. She 100% knows that I'm his girlfriend. I have heard her talking about me being his girlfriend before. So, she's definitely not the asshole. The other girl is obviously the asshole. I mean, it seems like she has like a lot of things going on mentally for her to, you know, constantly say that, oh, I'm not good looking or things like that. Like the poster already addressed that she has like a lot of insecurity issues going on. But with that being said, you don't go out of your way to seek someone else's partner out. That's weird. It's also very disrespectful as well. And also too, I kind of got to say something about the boyfriend. I feel like the boyfriend should be doing a little bit better to avoid this girl as much as he can, because I get that they're in school and they have like assignments, and like I said, let's say they're forced to work together because that's just how it is. But in any other situations, I feel like him avoiding her is just the best possible case scenario, like that they can both get. Because I'm obviously the girlfriend seems very uncomfortable, and the other girl, Samantha, has just ulterior motives that aren't good for anyone. But yeah, she's definitely not the asshole. I feel like it's something that she needed to hear to set up that boundary, to make sure that nothing further goes beyond that. Because, I mean, as it is, they had to kiss for a role, and obviously she took it as, oh my god, this is it. This is our moment. We're going to be together. Like, he definitely felt the spark. But that wasn't the case at all. So, yeah, I don't think she should be hanging around the poster and the poster's boyfriend anymore. And I feel like going forward, their relationship just should be totally professional. Just good morning, let's get to work, and that's it. Because after something like that, it takes deep reflection to understand what happened and whatnot. So yeah, hope the best for everyone.
Okay, I just want to throw this in there real quick before we continue on with the stories. I am not a pro Minecraft player, and this entire video is literally me trying to find a village, and it's me gathering resources so we can start building a house and things like that, and, you know, start settling into the world. Because I don't like living in the middle of nowhere. I like living next to a village. You know, it brings me a sense of community, even though everything is like far away and it's really lonely in Minecraft. And again, yeah, I'm very sorry to those who are looking for a really in-depth experience of me playing Minecraft. I'm very sorry, but you will not find that here. I am not the best at playing games or playing Minecraft. I'm a casual gamer, so yeah, I'm sorry. But I hope you enjoy the rest of the video of me reading stories. I just wanted to throw that in there. So this next story is, my girlfriend of 2 years lied about her age. I'm 19, 20 in July, and my girlfriend just turned 18 in February. We've been together for 2 years since my senior year. I thought she was turning 19 this year, and it turns out that isn't true. When we got together, I was a senior in high school, and she was doing online school, and we met through a friend of ours. Well, I was 17 at the time, and we got together a week before her birthday. I thought she was turning 17 as I was turning 18 that year. I was born in July 2006. Turns out I was wrong, and she was turning 16, which means I was 17 and she was 15 for a week before we got together. I did not find this out until today. 2 years later, she's been working on getting her own car and finally got an appointment to get her license. Well, when I looked at the photo and the paper copy of her license, her birthday was under it, 2008. I genuinely don't know what to do, as I know we haven't done anything illegal, but it still makes me feel gross that at one point, even if it was for a short period of time, I was dating a 15-year-old when I was 17, and dating a 16-year-old when I was 18, and now I'm 19 and was dating a 17-year-old. Part of me loves her, and she feels really guilty, but another part feels disgusted with myself, disappointed in her, and manipulated, as we would never have gotten together if I knew her age. I could really use any advice. And there's an edit below. Thank you all for the advice so far and the different perspectives. I should add, I'm not as distraught over the age as much as I am about the dishonesty. Now age isn't a big deal, but then it would have been if I knew. Clearly, some of y'all don't understand the legality troubles a 18-year-old dating a 16-year-old can have. Nonetheless, I appreciate the advice. I've always noticed complaints about my name. This account is 5 years old. I was 15 when I made it. It was supposed to be a satire and funny, but this is my main account. Okay, regardless. Yeah, I don't blame him for feeling like distraught and upset and disappointed in her, because at the end of the day, something that really builds a relationship are, first impressions and being honest with your partner. And obviously they're kids, they're still in high school, and obviously kids will make mistakes and whatnot, but I feel like this is a mistake that like you should not be making as a minor, because like how he said at the end, putting someone in legal trouble like that, because sure, I understand 18, 17, like on paper that doesn't sound bad because it's a 1 year age difference, but then legally it also doesn't help him because, well, at the end of the day he's an adult and she's a minor still. And I get it, and I understand like he doesn't feel as upset over the age gap anymore, but it's definitely about the whole being manipulated, as she never was honest about her real age, and for the longest time she was a lot younger than he anticipated or even knew. So that could also translate to other things, like, if she's willing to lie about this, is there other things that she would lie about, or like is there other things that she hides and whatnot. Like, I don't want to go deep into that, but it definitely feels like if she's willing to lie about her age to, be in this relationship, I don't think it's a good start. I mean, I don't think it's breakup worthy, but they definitely have to have serious conversations going forward about, being honest and having communication with each other, because you shouldn't be lying to your partner for about 2 years, especially about something like this. But yeah, I hope this guy gets his ducks in a row with her. Okay, so this next story goes, how do I get my life started? So I'm freshly 18, male. I work fast food. I live with my parents and only have to pay for my phone bill, food, and hygienics. I have a crisp $150 in my checking right now. I'm in community college, just getting all my credits and prerequisites out the way. I want a car so bad, but I'm obviously nowhere near that goal. I spend most of my time working, studying, and smoking weed with my one and only friend. I really want to start living, not just letting life pass me by, waiting on the distant day I'll be afloat. I really thought I'd be someone by now. Instead, I'm working 12-hour shifts and overdosing on coffee so I can study. Maybe I'm not thinking creatively enough, but I don't see a way out of this cycle. You may think, but your life is only starting. And I honestly don't want to hear that. As a kid, I was super sheltered. I wasn't even allowed to play outside. I never did playdates, sleepovers, or prom. In fact, my mom made me attend an online school. I can't help but feel robbed of my normalcy. Don't get me wrong, I've experienced my fair share of living, regardless, but I just want to spend more time out there rather than in my room. I want a car. I want to go anywhere and everywhere with it. I want to move into a loft apartment with my best friend. I want to have sex without having to sneak out of the house. I just want to get my life started. To clarify my question a little, are there concrete steps that can lead me in the right path? If so, what are they? All right. Well, I feel like that's a lot to have on your mind as a freshly 18-year-old guy. I mean, when I was 18, I was in my first year of college and I was a bio major. And again, even though I was attending somewhere and I had a quote unquote plan of or idea what I wanted to do, I still felt really lost. The thing is that when you're 18, it's impossible to know what you want to do with your life, because I promise you, the goals, the ideologies, the way of thinking, and my achievements that I had back when I was freshly 18 compared to where I am now are completely different. My dreams have changed, my goals have changed, my ideologies have changed, and things like that. So, it's understanding that, he hates to hear it, but it's true. Your life is only starting. And that's the truth. I understand he doesn't want to hear that, but really that's how it is. I mean, that's why I don't blame people who, when they get out of high school or, when they turn 18, they kind of want to have like a gap year of just working, because when you do that, you kind of understand where you want to be in your life, what do you want to do in this world, and things like that. And still, even if you have that figured out, that's going to change like 5 years in the future. But anywho, I would say my advice for this person is setting small goals. Really, that I think that would really help him, because life is so like weird that when you're working to a specific goal, that path is going to like alter to a different path, because either something catches your eye or you hit a bump, or there's just something that changes where it redirects you to something else that also becomes your goal. So like him saying that he wants to save up for a car, I think that's a great goal to start at. You know, you can keep working, and within those work experiences, you can meet new people, or you can experience different jobs and things like that. And then you can finally get the car. And then after the car, try setting up other goals, like the whole apartment thing and moving in with your best friend. But again, who knows? Maybe that will change down the line based off of your life experiences. But for now, I would say my advice is, like I said, just having small goals set up for yourself to be able to work to something and be proud of it. You know, be proud of the small achievements that you've made. Because I guarantee you, 95% of those people in the world probably haven't done what you've done. I haven't even bought my first car yet. So if this guy beats me to it, then that's great on him, like genuinely. But yeah, I just say take it one day at a time, and don't let all these thoughts fill into your head all at once, and don't compare yourself to anybody, because everybody runs at a different pace. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, so this next story is titled, Am I Overreacting for Snapping After My Wife's Friend's Prank Went Too Far? I, 23 male, am married to my wife, 24 female. Her close friend, 22 female, has been pranking me for years. Things like hiding my stuff and messing with my belongings. I always found it irritating, and my wife knew it bothered me, but I usually let it go to keep the peace since she was my wife's best friend. Recently, things escalated. She put toothpaste on my expensive computer monitor, and the final straw was she put a 2x4 behind my car tire in our driveway without telling me. I didn't notice it at the time. The next morning, the tire was flat. I was late to work putting on a spare, and after taking it to the shop, they said it had a decent-sized crack. The tires had it inspected and rotated just a few weeks earlier and were fine. I had a warranty, so I only had to pay $25 to re-add coverage, but it was still real damage and honestly scary. For additional context, earlier that same night, my wife and her friend were already in a disagreement. The friend compared my wife to a TV character they both dislike, and my wife took it as an insult. My wife asked me to tell her friend to leave, but I told her I didn't want to get in the middle of their conflict, and it felt like something they needed to handle between themselves. I snapped later that night while she was at her house working on a school paper. I deleted it from her computer. I didn't warn her. I fully intended to give it back, and I restored it after 7 minutes. No files were permanently lost, and it was a 1 to 2 page paper, and yes, I know this was immature and reactive. She absolutely lost it, called me a horrible person, and decided she no longer wanted to be friends with my wife because of me. My wife isn't really angry, she's devastated. She says she didn't just lose a friend, she lost someone she loved deeply and relied on emotionally, her quote-unquote ride or die. She feels empty, and she lost her main source of emotional support. My wife's parents suggest calling the police over the tire damage, but neither one of us want the additional drama, especially since my wife no longer wants contact with her friend anyways. I admit deleting the schoolwork wasn't the right move, and I reacted badly in the moment. At the same time, I feel like damaging my car and creating a safety risk crossed a serious line after years of behavior like this. My wife and I are okay now. We both acknowledge that her friend did and what I did were messed up in different ways. We're just trying to understand outside perspectives. Ouch, yeah, that's a lot to take in. I mean, I'm gonna be really honest with you. After hearing this, I don't like the friend at all. I mean, like, I understand, she's the wife's best friend and things like that. And, you really want to get along with your significant other's friends because, if you truly love your significant other, you're gonna have to be around their friends, whether you like it or not. And, hope to God that they're good people. But also, too, at the same time, you have to, draw boundaries somewhere. Because he states that, it made him, it bothered him and it irritated him. But nothing was done. I feel like he probably should have put his foot down a bit earlier just to set that boundary of saying, hey, I understand you think these jokes are funny. And at first, I did amuse them, but I don't like where this is going because you're touching my stuff and now you're hiding things and it's just adding extra stress that I don't want. And I understand, I definitely get keeping the peace. I'm a big people pleaser and I hate conflict. I genuinely hate conflict. But also at the same time, I don't know. I don't really feel comfortable with anyone messing with my belongings. Obviously, if they're just if they ask to borrow something or if they want to, use it and they ask me, well, completely fine. But, behind my back, taking stuff, rearranging things, I don't know. That's a boundary of privacy that's being intruded on. And definitely the wife, I feel like she probably should have spoke up. She knew it bothered him and she didn't say anything. She didn't pull her friend aside and tell her like, "Hey, I don't think we should be making these pranks anymore. And if you really want to make a joke, at least do something that he would enjoy." Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the true definition of a prank is when both parties find it funny. Like, "Oh, haha, you got me," or haha, that was good, that was funny. Not like making someone irritated or just like adding another like, "Oh, I gotta deal with this." And especially the computer monitor thing. Oh my god, I'd be livid. I love my computer monitors, and I feel like that's just another like financial thing that you have to pay for if it's ruined, that you shouldn't have to. Like, none of this should have happened. Like the whole car tire thing and the computer monitor, that's terrible. And especially the car thing, the whole the tire popped and whatnot. Like that's a liability. Like he probably could have gotten hurt because of that. And what, because of a hee hee ha ha joke? I feel like she never really liked him, to be honest with you, or like she just liked being mean to him. Like it's giving like bully ideology. But I do like, I admit, as funny as funny as the get back is to delete the school paper, it probably shouldn't have happened because two wrongs don't make a right. But I get it. It was probably so amusing on his side because it's like, finally, after years of torment and years of unnecessary pranks, I finally get to get her back. But also too, I understand pranks are like funny on both ends, but like now she gets a glimpse of what she's been doing to him for the last how long they've been together. And I think it's nice that she got a taste of her own medicine, but she shouldn't have gotten that upset because you shouldn't dish out what you can't take. And now that she's not friends with them anymore, it's like it's upsetting because for a whole friendship to end over something like that and whatnot, I don't know. I would say like maybe they dodged a bullet having someone like that into their life. But I understand it was the wife's friend and the wife has experiences with this person and whatnot. And, I don't want to like, sweep that under the rug. But, at the end of the day, if someone is doing this to your partner and you kind of let it happen and it makes them uncomfortable, irritated, and upset, I think you should have intervened at one point or another. And definitely if pulled the friend aside to say like, stop. But I mean, if the friend is doing that and they reacted like this and they can't comprehend it, maybe a bullet was dodged here. Just throwing that out there. I think this guy isn't overreacting. I think he is in the right completely. Maybe not about like the whole homework thing, but definitely about being upset and just like not wanting to have the friend there. But yeah, poor guy. Okay, so the title of this one's pretty crazy, but today I fucked up by buying everyone an Ancestry DNA kit and ruining Christmas. Earlier this year, Ancestry DNA had a sale on their kit. I thought it would be a great gift idea, so I bought 6 of them for Christmas presents. Today, my family got together to exchange presents for our Christmas Eve tradition, and I gave my mom, dad, brother, and 2 sisters each a kit. As soon as everyone opened their gift at the same time, my mom started freaking out. She told us how she didn't want us taking them because they had unsafe chemicals. We explained to her how there were actually no chemicals, but we could tell that she was still flustered. Later, she started trying to convince us that only one of us kids had need to take the test since we all have the same results, and to resell extra kits to save money. Fast forward, our parents have been fighting upstairs for the past hour, and we are downstairs trying to figure out who has a different dad. Oh my god, that's such a turn of events. I mean, I would hate to be the poster, because like, you're here sitting like, oh my god, like I want to see like what genetic trait I have, or where we come from and things like that, because my family has taken the 23andMe test, and we found out some pretty cool stuff of like who we are, where we're from, and things like that. And to me, it's just interesting finding out, but finding out that you might have different parents is probably one of the worst ways you can find out that, especially on Christmas Eve. Like, oh my god. Okay, here there are a couple updates, so I'll read the first one. Thank you so much for all the love and support. My sister's brother and I have not yet decided if we're going to take the test. No matter what the results are, we still love each other and our parents no matter what. Okay, so I guess that they haven't taken the test, but I mean, it's really suspicious from the mom to be like, whoa, let's not take them because of chemicals, or like, oh, maybe only one of you need to take it because of the same results. I gotta admit, that's a good lie. That's a really good lie. To kind of twist it around, saying like, hey, so you are already related, so like, why do you guys want to find out where your ancestors come from if it's all gonna be the same results? That's a pretty good lie, but obviously it didn't work. Oh, there's a second update here. Let me read this for you guys. Christmas isn't ruined. My FU actually turned into a Christmas miracle. Turns out my sister's father passed away shortly after she was born. A good friend of my mom was able to help her through the darkest time in her life, and they went on to fall in love and create the rest of our family. They never told us because of how hard it was for my mom. Last night, she was strong enough to share stories and photos with us for the first time, and it truly brought us even closer together as a family. This is a Christmas we will never forget, and yes, we are all excited to get our test results. Merry Christmas, everyone. Okay, see, it turned out right. The way I say it is like, I guess like something happened in the past and whatnot, and okay, so like how I'm reading this is, one of the sisters' parents passed away after she was born, and then the dad, who is the mom's best friend in the past tense, came and helped supported her, and then created the rest of the family. Yeah, that's a really sweet turnaround story. That's actually really cool. I mean, it's a interesting way to find out everything like about that whole lore. But I mean, I'm glad it all worked out for everyone. It's pretty crazy though. Okay, so this next story is pretty crazy. Today I fucked up by trying to surprise my wife for her birthday and almost getting a divorce. I'll admit, I haven't been the most attentive husband lately. My wife has told me I need to make more of an effort in our relationship or we would have problems. I've tried really hard to invest in our relationship ever since finding out my wife isn't not feeling as happy as she should be. This fuck up happened last week. My wife's birthday was coming up. I decided to go big. My wife absolutely loves surprises, so I decided to surprise her with a romantic night and lots of flowers and presents. She had to go to work in the morning of her birthday and I had the day off. A lot of time to plan everything out. I decided, being the idiot I am, to pretend that I had forgotten my wife's birthday, just to make the surprise, well, even more of a surprise. The plan goes as follows. My wife wakes up and I don't mention her birthday. She thinks I had forgotten it. She goes to work and I get everything ready. She comes home in the evening after work and ta-da! When she opens the door, I'll be waiting for her with gifts, flowers, dinner, and everything romantic. Sounds like an amazing plan, right? Wrong. Nothing special happened in the morning and my wife left for work while I slept in. During the day, I got everything ready and apart from my mildly messed up dessert, everything went great. Then, it was time to wait for my wife to return. She was supposed to get home after 4 p.m., nothing. 4:30 p.m., nothing. 5 p.m., still nothing. I was starting to get worried and I texted her where she was. Around 5:30, she read my message but didn't reply. I called her and she didn't answer. I was starting to get extremely worried and I texted her if she was okay. That's when she replied. She texted me opening up about how she couldn't believe I had forgotten her birthday. Even after her expressing to me how she felt neglected in the relationship and wanting me to put in more effort, I, in all my stupidity, still decided to play dumb to make my big surprise work. I told her to just come home so we can talk about it. Big mistake. She told me she was done talking and started mentioning divorce. That's when I called her and she still wouldn't answer. Then I panicked and started explaining everything to her by text. I took pictures of all the things I had done around the house. The gifts, the flowers, the decorations, the dinner, everything. I just wanted to surprise her. That's all I wanted. I tried calling her to no avail. She read my messages and after not getting a reply, I just broke and started crying. After what felt like the longest wait of my life, my wife comes home. She's crying, saying sorry. I told her it was my fault and we both just cried holding each other. We spent the night crying and cuddling and eating dinner I made. She told me it was the best thing she had ever eaten. Obviously a lie. It was mediocre at best and it was already cold. It wasn't the surprise I had hoped to give her. I'm just glad she was still married to me. And yes, we are working on to fix our relationship. I love this woman with all my heart. I had her permission to share this. And here are a couple edits. And yeah, I'll give you my thoughts after the edits. First edit. Wow. Thank you for the kind words, everyone. I can't reply to everyone, so I just want to say I appreciate it here. For all the concerned people, yes, we are getting help in fixing things. I have stated before, I appreciate the concern, but with all due respect, I'm going to take my relationship advice from professionals and not from Reddit. Good. That's good. It's weird to have people arguing about my relationship when frankly no one knows us or the situation we are in. I just wanted to share this story on here with my wife since we already talked to this issue through. Still reading your personal experiences and what you have gone through is helpful, so please do share if you feel like doing so. And to the people messaging me calling my wife horrible things, I sincerely want to say F you. Calling me an idiot is justified. Calling my wife horrible is not. And there's the second edit. I'm getting so many comments about this that I've decided to address it. I commented this before, but I'm going to put it here so people can see, hopefully. Like some have said, I wasn't really thinking about her when I was doing what I did. I made the whole surprise essentially about myself, even though I didn't mean to. It was never my intention to make her feel bad, even though I now realize that of course she would feel horrible for the whole day after I pretended to not remember her birthday. I've apologized for this, and these things were things that need to talk about. Really, the only thing I was thinking about was the surprise that I wanted to show my wife and not how my wife was going to react to it. My dumb logic was that, hey, my wife loves surprises, so I have to make the surprise as surprising as I can. Anyway, I never intended to make her feel bad, but lack of thinking made that happen, and I feel horrible. Okay, so honestly, this is kind of like a bumpy story, but at the end of the day, I had a good ending, and I feel like it's totally normal for relationships or marriages to have those patches in time where, one partner isn't being as attentive as they should be. Sometimes they're so, drowned by work or life, hobbies, things like that. And sometimes things like that slip through their fingers and they realize like, oh my God, like I've been absent, or I haven't been on, good standing, or, anything like that. And, as much as it is kind of his fault for kind of planning it like that, because it did kind of make it about himself rather than his wife. I do see where he's coming from. He just wanted to do something nice for his wife, and like, oh, let me make it a surprise because she loves surprises, like how he said at the end. But at the end of the day, he should have realized that they're kind of in a rough patch right now, and I think it's more important to acknowledge that you want to make your wife's day about her because it's her birthday, rather than kind of holding, and then boom, here it is. Because again, time and place for it. I just don't think this was necessarily the best time to do it, especially given that they were kind of going through a rough patch. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that she finally read the messages. She saw it. She came home. They had the cold dinner, even if, and she said it was the greatest dinner of all time, which she's great for saying that. But yeah, and they're getting the help that they need, 100%. That's great. But I'm glad he's actually seeking the professionals rather than just staying on Reddit, because what I said at the beginning of the video, at the end of the day, we're just people on the internet. I don't have a degree. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a marriage counselor or anything like that. I'm just a guy reacting and putting my 2 cents in for those watching. But yeah, at the end of the day, great story, and I'm glad they were able to sort everything out. Okay, I just want to use this last portion of the video to, thank you for watching, and thank you for staying the entire time. This is my first time doing something like this, and I'm going outside of my comfort zone by using my actual voice in videos and whatnot. I'm not a pro at this. I'm not even experienced in editing or anything like that. So, give me time, and I promise that in a couple months from now, these videos will be way better, and there'll be a better format to it. But yeah, I'm gonna link down a email in the description, and please feel free to send in confessions, stories, advice, and I'd be more than happy to get to them. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please like, and it would really help me out if you guys would subscribe, to give me more of an incentive to do this. But yeah, all right, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. Tune in next time for the next video.